Chapter 31. Faraway, Pleas. How long has it been since my tragic fall from grace had begun? I could not have been out for more than a couple of seconds. This walloping wind made certain of that. Indeed, it feels as though centuries have passed, as though civilizations have risen and crumbled, old gods betrayed and new gods elevated. Wars both won and lost, fruitlessly fought, for they, too, along with their motivators, are soon forgotten. Seasons, countless in number, melted into each other, rolling over into chains of fire and ice, and threaded around that unstoppable and unyielding spindle of time. How long indeed? It is precisely for this reason that I must, from the center, most core to the very edge of that word, I must rouse myself from this state of inertia. I must seize each and every moment by the cuff. All of them are significant, for all of them are mine. The little bit that I have, my piece of infinity. In these moments, regardless of the icy assurance that they'll be misplaced in the braiding chains of the ages, I rally my muscles as though they were defeated troops, hesitant to act again, but yet present, moping about, awaiting that actionable spark of their charismatic leader. Rise! To arms! Take heart! You are not yet without hope! Against the resistance of the thrashing air, it is tiresome work lifting my head up to look down. It is still a long ways to the bottom. The sea waves to me. I am long past a possible landing upon the summit of the island, and even farther from the gate. Saba must have hit me with everything he had, making use of his vibrational thew and all, to fling me such a span as this. Yes, as we, Omani, are capable of harnessing our to bolster our physical capabilities, he must also have in him the capacity to conjure a similar effect by his genetic proclivity. Despite favorably being granted moving waters, as opposed to the mineral-dense enclave as a cushion for my collision, I am aware that the impact of either medium would likely mean my end in my current state. If I may just gather enough of the natural around me, then I may reduce my mass prior to the crash. It is sparse, but a sliver of from Outpyros yet lingers. It is not much at all, yet it will have to suffice. Command, weightless. The paltry sum of I've collected has been enough to shed about a fifth of my weight. I can only hope that this is adequate. I have come to a tantalizing wall where wisdom, might, and courage ends, and only hope can lend any worthwhile boon to my efforts in looking beyond such a lofty wall. Yes, I have learned that hope can be quite the raft of last resort. When all else fails, it may yet keep one afloat for calmer days. However, it is one that breaks easily ought it be riddled with holes and left untended, for then it allows doubt to flood in and overtake it. Hope, that imaginatively conjured aspiration, called upon by will alone, may very well be the greatest shield to have ever been thought up, and yet it is one that must be maintained forever and always. A toiling work. As I near my final dry second, a crest from the patterned motion of the sea greets my descent. The crash is painful, but it could not have been any more convenient. Lessening my mass and being caught by a cradling wave has saved me. How perfect, how timely, how graceful, and to what? Or who can I attribute such fortune? I dare not say the mother tree, nor Fatima, nor anyone I know in any explicit sense. And yet I refuse to accredit my life to luck. Never has such a thing held form. When outstretched, the wings of the Draken proved to be buoyant, drawing me back up to the surface almost as swiftly as I withdrew from it. And here I lay, surrounded by the murky abyss and the dark sky at a time which I cannot say is night nor day, because I simply do not know. Betrayed and abandoned, I am left for dead. Jai warned me. She said I would be deceived, as my ancestor was. I could not aptly project my hopes onto Saba, nor could I hope my projections onto him. I am certain that if Parias could speak to me directly, he would belittle me a fool. And every right to do thus is his. I believed Denai was the betrayer. How was I presumed to forecast that there would be a second? Despite Jai alluding to the possibility, the chances had seemed too minuscule to throw any lasting worry at them. So, back then, she was right. And that also means she was right about the Nye not ever holding the merit of a true friend to begin with. Thus he couldn't be the prophesied betrayer. By the sieving of logic from that which is groundless, Saba truly considered me a friend. I ought be furious. I ought also feel triumphant. One, because a friend had forsaken me, and the other, because my victory of befriending a Tamas was not a superficial one. At some point along this barbaric pilgrimage, I gained Saba's respect and affinity, but before this, I inherited his deceit. I juggled the last two emotions, paired with the thoughts that brought them to me in my head for a few moments, fusing them in a libation of the conscience. Fury and triumph, and bittersweet taste. Strange. I would not think they'd mix. The experience of the mortal can be encapsulated by all words and none. You are forsaken and given mercy all at once. It has been hours. I have done nothing but wallow in the dread of self-pity. The darkness has gradually dirtied itself blacker and blacker since the initial expulsion of Sa. The sky behaves as a still and contaminated lake now, littered with oily droplets and cloudy smoke, an unsettling and baleful backdrop. Cool waters beneath me sweep the lukewarm blood from my wounds to unplanned destinations, whilst the breeze above, slightly warmer but yet chilling, presents a far-removed disparity from the fiery heat sink that this area was but half a day ago. With the absence of Pyros, the scorch zone is no more, and my world aches. She calls to me, and it does not fall upon deaf ears nor a vacant mind. Just broken bones. My will and yearning are present, but try as I might, struggle as I may, I cannot act even in the presence of these potent motivators. I am stressed to call upon something stronger than these things, unfamiliar with what this source of power is or could be. My wildest estimate of it points to anger, a conclusion not deduced with logic nor reason. No, I want it to be anger. Out of will or desperation, I want to be angry. The skies roar, and fuming nimbi tumble across its suspended plain. The clouds burst and the rain falls. Lightning peals across the sky and flickers as it fades, an apparition of what it was only a blink ago, and it is gone nearly as swiftly as it had come. Ah, if only it had remained so that I may, from its light-traced crack and by the unkempt nails of my mortal fingers, flay back the husk of this realm and unveil the very heavens that surround it. From there I would demand it reveal to me all. What are you? Who are you? Why are you and why am I? Why? Just that! Just why? Why anything? Why everything? Why not nothing? Why? Calamity befalls those who taunt its becoming, believing it unlikely. The burden of stewardship is then delegated to those who warned of her validity. There's that blasted quote again. It bubbles through the surface from a dream that I cannot even recall. Why does it trespass so freely into my mind without my recalling on it? This intrusive, decrying saying is not mine! A voice, thinned and parted, reveals itself to me. It is fragmented and frail, but its owner is one I recognize. Fatima! Is it you? The words barely escape me as a shooting pain strikes my jawline. It is cracked and hangs loose. Was Fatima the one who introduced this parable within me? And clear our path to honor. Her disrupted and dispersed vocals penetrate Tiamatu's fog. Clear a path to Ara? How? I have nothing left. It's a miracle that I am alive. My muscles ache. My bones are worn. My lungs are heavy. My skin is burned, my jaw is broken, my wings are punctured, my is depleted, and I lose all reasoning and scream. I shout and cry, violently splashing about the dead waters over and over. There are no tangible words. Not that they could be distinguished. My broken jaw skews any sense. My emotion is much harder to ignore. An onslaught of desperation and ferocity flood out and displace what little sense of triumph that was there. Each time I yell, it is as though I am trying to outdo the last. Pitiful. Who am I crying to? Fatima? All of Oma? Saba? Tiamatu? Who? Who and why? This truancy of reason only further erupts my anger. I scream and wail and howl again. With the final shout, a surge of violent is reignited in my core. I take hold of it, smothering the rage, taming it with all of my faculty. The blood of my warrior lineage boils, and turbulent, hot steam bursts from between my scales. A swiveled horn painfully extrudes from my forehead, and two more as though antlers from my crown, and the tint of my vision vaguely yellows as the depth expands dramatically. My eyebrows vanish, and any wounds I have evaporate amongst the flowing stream. The wings of Pleas grow slightly larger, now with hooked stingers at the ready from the farthest corners. There is very little Omani skin left on my surface. Draken's scales dominate this form, and they are thicker than ever before. The water beneath me simmers, and all senses have exponentially improved. Yet, the greatest attribute is what I am so effortlessly doing right now, which is viewing myself from both an internal and external perspective simultaneously. What sort of vision is this? I play with it, sending it to and fro to the extent of its limitation, and find that through this lens I can view all of Oma. I cast it across the Sea of Uman as far as it may go, and it arrives at a bordering wall, encircling all of our world. The barricade knows no maximum to its height, for it breaches into the heavens, and I cannot look over it. What is this? Never mind it. There are pressing concerns afoot. I feel indestructible. I feel unstoppable, unmovable, anchored, healed. So, when I had debated within myself whether it was anger or the steady of it that resulted in strength, I lurched from one to the other and back again. Now, I know for certain that it is this. Composure is where power rests. Equanimity is its throne. Once I've satisfied my study of this new sight, I aim it skywards. Brace yourself, Fatima. I fly high above the sea and devise my astral bow, now more powerful and ecstatic than ever, its essence fanatical, yet well contained. The arrow pierces the dark clouds and ugly tinge of Tiamatu's ever-present element with a potent serenity, bursting through the atmosphere in a rebellion against his tyranny. I follow it all the way to Ara with my new eyes, directing it so as not to harm the guardian. Her home's brilliant shine lights the path which I have paved. Guidance may once more adorn Oma.
Well done, young hero.
Her voice arrives clearly, calmly, and with the peace of a heavenly invocation. She continues,
You've opened this tunnel of light, and now we may properly devise our strategy. I have enough influence to keep at least this new channel free of Tiamatu's growing authority. It has been so long. I know you must be laden with questions. But first, let me say this. Despite your loss at the gate, you have unlocked the final stage of Mimic Drakin. The war is not lost. With this, I am certain you've noticed your newfound vision amongst other things. The wings come from the Wolf Queen, but the eyes come from us, the guardians, from where we can see all. Rejoice, for you are now equipped to do battle with the god. It is unfortunate that Saba betrayed you. You mustn't forgive him. He has been in direct communication with Tiamatu as I am with you now. However, when Sa's expulsion began, their channels grew stronger whilst ours diminished. Saba had many moons to decide whether or not he would go through with his act of treachery. I know this now, though it has come to me late. He has chosen darkness, and you are certain to clash with him again.
She suddenly stops, then distraught by some sudden occurrence that is made known to her, she continues.
And there is no time. Tiamatu is... he's coming.
I could feel the frost of those words. I shoot toward the gate, ignoring the brimming hesitation trying to anchor me.
Stop it, Anne. Tiamatu's prison is not there. The gate only acts as a relayer of the seal. It is only a lock.
Then where is his prison? I yell at her, and regrettably so. This sort of scenario calls for haste, and often involves a loss of manners. She pauses before answering.
Nalarta.
Her short response carries with it a long and terrible list of implications. It felt as though my heart plunged to the pit of my stomach to be devoured by its acids. Why? I cannot properly formulate my questions due to the absurdity of what I am hearing.
Parias and the Lock Sage were explicit and meticulous regarding Tiamatu's sealing. Hence your outrageous journey. The map, the fan, the key requiring his genetics, the trials, all of it for peculiar reasons, some of which even I am not aware of. The logic behind separating the lock from the prison is this. If the incarnate were to fail in renewing the seal, Tiamatu ought not be so casually released into the open world, where he would be free to do as he pleases unabated. The prison must be located where the best and most skilled wolves may respond to his escape. Unfortunately, that is the heart of the capital. His wretched cage is deep within the abandoned dungeon, beneath the palace's main citadel.
I have no time to argue the ridiculous rationale of my forebears. My body acknowledges this on its own as I speed back toward the direction of the capital.
Hearken well. Despite the substantial elevation of your newfound power, it'll take you quite some time to reach the far east city of Nalarta. Tiamatu is moments away from breaching the surface. Focus your Draken's eye view on the capital. You can assess him before you arrive there. I will aid you in being your ears. Whatsoever I may hear, you shall too. Do well to study Tiamatu's movements, his abilities, his durability, his tactics. Leave no stone unturned when gauging him.
As she instructs, I roll my auxiliary view over the sea, desert, jungle, forest, plains, and mountains ahead of me until I locate the capital. There, I augment my vision to zoom in and over the Goliath doors of the dungeon that keeps him. The city is bustling about in defiance of the growing darkness of the past weeks. They've increased the lighting fixtures amongst the roads and structures. Torches and candles are lit along the intercity alleyways. They've been dealing with Sa's expulsion as well as they can. It is good to see my kin with their spirits yet unsullied. I could not have anticipated the force he would arrive with. It all grinds to a deafening halt. Everything. This very moment, a rattling lightning springs up my spine, causing me to clamp my jaw shut and grind my teeth against the terrible grain of malice. Everyone can feel it. It is more than obvious. It is demanding of the totality of all focus everywhere and every place, and there is not a soul that may deny it. This is through no special sense of mine. Not even the dead could ignore this feeling, and there does not exist a living thing in this world which dares to make a sound lest they be discovered. The beasts tremble in spot. The insects will not chirp nor crawl. The wind itself hides. The oceans become still. Oma herself is anxious. And although Nalarta is too frozen to move or utter anything, I can feel their pleas. They are not precisely to me, but they are to anyone, anywhere that may help. I am that someone. yet I am so far away.